Hello and welcome to the Path to Better A1C podcast. I am your host, Jenny, and I always come every week on Friday mornings, just sharing a bit of an insight, some strategies that you can apply just so that you can regain your energy, balance your blood sugar, prevent diabetes in simple, sustainable steps without extreme diets or anything crazy, but just something that you can actually see yourself do for the rest of your life. And today I am honored to have an amazing guest that is going to bring light on what hypnotherapy is and what it can actually do to help you with your health and wellness, and especially with your blood sugar regulation and a lot of the brain fog and the energy dips that anybody that has dealt with blood sugar imbalances understands. So her name is Callie Stewart, and I'm going to let her introduce herself and say a little bit about herself so you can get to know her. Welcome, Callie.
Thank you, Jenny. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
So, if you would share a little bit about what you do, maybe clarify what is hypnotherapy and what is not, because I've heard so many different things out there. There are so many misconceptions about what hypnotherapy is. So, I would love for you to bring clarity so that people are clear as to what it truly is.
I agree. There's confusion out there. I am a licensed occupational therapist, and I've been working in healthcare for the past 12 years or so. And before I went to occupational therapy school, I was curious about hypnotherapy. I was in my early 20s. I was stressed out. I was smoking cigarettes. I was overwhelmed, and I tried it out with a friend and my sister. We did a group hypnotherapy session, and I loved it, and then I took a training through that same practitioner. So I've woven hypnotherapy into my jobs in healthcare over the years for anxiety, pain, sleep problems. I'm finding my rhythm, my original love of hypnotherapy. I am doing that full time now. There are some misconceptions. A lot of people are afraid of losing control. And definitely a therapeutic use of hypnosis is collaborative. It's similar to guided meditation or guided imagery. And there's an agreed upon goal or an area of your health and wellness that you want to work on. And it's not top down or one person in charge. And hypnosis happens naturally. So I like to just educate people that it's a capacity our brains already have. So it's fun to learn how to use it for your own benefit.
What is the area that you have seen that they have been able to accomplish
Yeah.
because of hypnotherapy?
I see people for a whole variety of goals, and the ones that you can see the most change in are often our habits. I Habit change is complex, but it is pretty fascinating when there may be tension or stress or an emotional root to a behavior. And then cognitively or rationally, the person doesn't want to be doing it anymore. So it's not a magic pill that will work right away, but I recommend 3 sessions. I've had a few people in their 40s that do nail biting, and it's been pretty remarkable to see what the hidden meaning is or what the body's wisdom is behind the nail biting. And then vaping and smoking cessation are big ones. And then I worked with a lovely woman over a few years, like she'd come every 6 months or so, and she was reducing her alcohol intake because she felt like that was in menopause, like helping or not helping her keep the weight off. So that was more nutrition focused on snacking and alcohol, things that she didn't feel were necessary in her diet. So she was like a big success to see her every 6 to 8 months, and her goals kept getting bigger and bigger. And she was really happy with her lifestyle.
When we build these habits and routines, there's so much that is interconnected, right? Like there is always an emotional tie to it, or there is sometimes a series of events, and uncovering that and finding different ways of creating that change. We know that the brain will remind you to do things in a certain way just because that's the brain's job, right? Like to tell you, well, you always have coffee at this time, or you always have this sweet treat after your lunch. Why are you stopping now? Do you feel that there are benefits for somebody, let's say for diabetics and pre-diabetics? One of the main things is dealing with brain fog, dealing with cravings, right? Like especially the sugary cravings. Like, is there a benefit of hypnotherapy and their journey trying to get their blood sugar in control and regaining their energy.
Yes. Well, recent research in the last 5 years is showing that because hypnosis is a state of heightened focus, and it's geared towards relaxation, it puts us into a state of non-sleep, deep rest. So it's not exactly like sleep, but it is a very reparative and positive state for the body. And so that can help reduce stress, and stress responses and stress hormones can impact our insulin sensitivity and make us more insulin resistance. I have two daughters, and going through gestational diabetes for both of those pregnancies, and the second one I had more insulin resistance, and I kind of leave that up to more stress. My life was more complicated the second time. My body was probably struggling a little bit more. So I've I can see in my own life, you can't just use your mind to fix things. You also want your environment to be supportive and your choices, but the mind is a big part of it. So learning meditation, hypnotherapy, getting sessions, yoga, so all these mind body modalities can help benefit prediabetes and diabetes, and help through the stress mechanisms.
We know that it's a misconception as well that when they think of pre-diabetes and diabetes, that the only two things that they need to worry about are exercise and nutrition. But then there is also the stress. Are you sleeping well? Are you having like the environment, right? Like how much stress comes from,
I
because
have
you're
an interesting story of a woman I saw in the past year, and she was on a weight loss journey, and she always, whenever she left the country to go on a vacation, really walked a lot, but she ate tons of delicious food and coffee and a croissant every morning or chocolate. But she every time she would go on a vacation, because of the walking and just being more carefree, she would lose a couple pounds. And then as soon I think her home environment and her work, especially her work environment, would just trigger her stress response. So it was like night and day. And there's only, hypnosis can help with that to some degree, but sometimes it's also setting boundaries and working on that.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
that was very, just in the past year, it was a very clear-cut example that it's a pattern in her life where she must just feel so much more free when she gets to unplug.
I've seen that in my clients. Sometimes they're like, "Well, but how come did I lose weight?" And I was actually eating a bit more, and I was asking, "Well,
Mhm.
you didn't have the stress from work. You were moving more. Typically, like if you go on these trips that you're walking a lot, it kind of balances things out. You sleep more, which actually we know that if you have 2 nights of consecutively that you don't have good sleep, that actually naturally increases your blood sugar levels. Like just with that, you could be eating everything balanced, you can be drinking your water, just having a couple of not so good nights of sleep, that alone will kind of trigger something in your body, right? Like it's just that cortisol levels and all the hormonal changes that come with that. But that's amazing. That's amazing. Now, is there is one thing, one simple thing that maybe people can do to balance the stress a little bit and kind of like find that meditative state? What would be something that you would share with the listeners?
The strategy that I want to lead you through, it takes maybe 10 seconds, but I do want you to not do this while driving. So if you are listening to this while driving or walking on a busy sidewalk,
Do not try this, please.
yeah, do not
Try it
try.
when you're home.
Yeah, this can be really helpful at night when we have a busy mind. So when you're trying to fall asleep, it can kind of bridge you to a calmer state to quiet the analytical, racing thoughts. So find a safe place to do this, and you should be sitting down or lying down and not operating machinery. And then it uses your eyes, and there's other people in the field like Dr. David Spiegel out at Stanford University. He does a different version, but our even EMDR, which is a therapeutic tool, uses our eye movements. So it's similar in some ways to that, but it's purely to just get quiet and to feel like a reset. So here you go. You sit down or lie down and you just stare across from you wherever you are, slightly upward gaze where the wall meets the ceiling. If you're inside, you can look upward. And then we're going to take a nice big breath in with your eyes open. And then breathe out, close your eyes. And do 2 more at your own rhythm. So breathe in, open your eyes. Breathe out, close your eyes. And then 1 more. Inhale, your eyes open. Exhale, close your eyes. And those 3 slow motion blinks, opening and closing, they might float open again, but that can help to get more inward and a bit quieter in the mind. You can open your eyes now, come back to the present moment, and think of that as rubbing the belly and patting the head. It gives your frontal cortex, it gives your busy analytical mind, our conscious mind, a job. And then it almost like a miniature confusion technique. So it gives you a moment just to settle back into your breath and into your body.
And that's
Mm.
amazing because, especially like a lot of my listeners are these busy professionals, corporate workers, C suite executives that are super busy. And sometimes their days are just from meeting to meeting and making decisions. And that analytical brain, it's on overdrive from early morning. So, having this technique may be very helpful. So, thank you so much for sharing that. Now, I would love to ask a few quick fire questions. I always do that with my guest speakers. So, morning ritual. What is your morning ritual that you tend to follow?
Well, I was kind of being mindless over different parts of my life with coffee. I've drank coffee since probably age 16 or 17, like pretty young. And I love it. I love the taste. And I sometimes have had too much in a day, like maybe a second cup after lunch that I don't really need. Maybe I could have an herbal tea. So now, in the last like 5 or 6 months, I've made it a point to just savor and slow down and be mindful when I have my first sip of coffee. And because of my history of blood sugar and continual blood sugar spikes and drops, I eat before I have coffee, and I feel like I eat some type of protein and fiber or, something at least, something in my belly before I start the coffee, and it makes it a little more special because 'cause I'm enjoying it rather than using it as, like, pure energy because 'cause I'm exhausted from the week.
And what do you do when you have that 3 p.m.?
Yeah, I think crunchy food tends to help, or my favorite snack, which maybe isn't the healthiest, but I do like dairy, so cheddar cheese and crackers and maybe some nuts, but something crunchy. I do like the Chobani yogurt drinks. I've been a fan for a few months now. They really taste good, and I enjoy them.
And it sounds like it has like my PFF formula, which is having some protein, some fiber, and some fat in there. That tends to be really good to avoid just keep riding that roller coaster, right? That sometimes we feel. Now, is there a song that boosts your mood when you're feeling a little bit like, okay, I need something to get me on this happy place? Is there a favorite song
Yeah,
or
I
artist?
Yeah, I even though bluegrass is a little bit sad, and people don't know Dolly Parton. I've always since I was a little girl, I've liked Dolly Parton. I don't know why. She's who doesn't? But she has a double album. It's called The Grass is Blue, and it's a bluegrass album, and some of it's famous songs she covers, and then some of them she's written, and they're all bluegrass, but they're very soulful and folky, and I think that got me through a breakup in college, and it all turned out okay, and I'm friendly with him, and we both like Dolly Parton, but that album, I didn't know until that time, and it really helped me.
One last piece of advice. I know that you gave us a great routine that I'm probably going to embrace as well. And I'm going to try to do that before my sessions. But any last tip or advice that you want to share?
Yeah, I think with therapy, since I am an occupational therapist and a hypnotherapist is my now primary focus, and I work with mental health and physical health, the whole spectrum. It's hard to make changes, and it's hard to be open and honest with ourselves and another person. So my advice is to be gentle with yourself and patient with yourself, and try to go in with curiosity and non-judgment. So those are my tips, and maybe a dose of humor, and um, it will get better.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to ask for help, because I know sometimes people are afraid to ask for help. They feel that it's a sign of weakness. And I actually think that is a sign of strength, because you're strong enough to see within yourself and see that this can be improved. And having the right people in your corner may actually make the process better. Right.
Mhm.
Now, I would love for you to share a little bit about your information for anybody that is interested in exploring hypnotherapy, where they can find you, share your socials. I will surely put all the information on the show notes.
Sure. Yes. I'm probably most active on Instagram. It's at Callie0406, and Callie is Cally 0406. And I'm on Facebook at Callie Stewart Hypnotherapy. And then my website is chock full of helpful information and some free short audio and a little video where I narrate the history of hypnosis, which also helps to clarify some of the misconceptions. So go to calliestewart.com. It's Cally Stewart, Stewart.com. And then you can book a complimentary call with me. There's links on Instagram and my website, and we can chat and answer any questions you have, or see how hypnotherapy might help you.
Thank you so much, because I know that a lot of people may think of hypnotherapy, and I love how you clarified it's not somebody in control. They're going to make me do things that I don't want to do, right? Like they think about that almost spooky idea of what hypnotherapy is. But
Yeah,
I'm
and there's
glad that you
still,
were able to clarify that it just
and I
that's
do
not
agree,
how it
there's
works.
still, yeah, there's still sometimes people out there that make it more mystical than it really is, and I try to demystify it and make it practical. I want to teach them, and it was so helpful for me in my early 20s that I want people, and I've seen people all ages, 7 to 100. I've seen people in their 90s, so and even 5-year-olds. So it's a wide range. Everybody can do it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Callie, for your time. I know that you're super busy, and I appreciate you showing up and sharing all your knowledge. I'm sure that this is going to be interesting. If you have any questions, reach out and connect with Callie. She already shared everything, and I'll make sure that I put everything in the show notes. And you had an amazing tip. Remember that blood sugar balancing, brain fog, and all of that. It's not just about the food, and it's not just about the exercise, like the stress and how to almost give the brain a break of all of the activity that we do, that we're always on that fight or flight mode. It is good to find these tools. And Callie, I am going to actually try what you shared with us. So I'm excited to hear what everybody else experiences when they try it as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jenny.
Thank you. Glad to have you here. Hopefully, we can have you again.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.